Ravioli.
Going into this video, I was under the impression that the Minish Cap was pretty much forgotten about. I rarely see anyone mention or talk about it, but after browsing some forums and asking some opinions on Reddit, it seems that the Minish Cap is actually quite a beloved Zelda title. It in no way competes with any Zelda in the 3D category, but it seems to hold its place pretty high up on the list of favorite 2D Zelda games with a lot of fans. For me, well, it's kind of complicated. I mostly love the Minish Cap, but we'll get into that. And as always for this series of Zelda videos, there will be spoilers, so you've been warned. Now, one thing I really do like about the Minish Cap is the setting. It very much feels like a fairy tale adventure as opposed to a grand quest to defeat an evil overlord that has way too many bitches. Like seriously, Ganondorf is the only dude in a tribe full of ladies, but instead he's all like,
Snapchat girl Snapchats me, love you, I say not thick enough.
In this particular Zelda adventure, there exists a tribe of little people called the Picori. The Picori are tiny enough to live hidden in plain sight. Some live inside books, some live inside the rafters of Hyrule Town homes. And the cool thing is, the Picori aren't just another race you interact with like the Zora and the Goron in other Zelda games. They are the actual reason for the main gimmick of the Minish Cap. Okay, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. There's some very important stuff that happens right at the start of the game that I need to mention. This is a joke about balls.
マリオなら、右へ右へ走っていけばゴールがある。
So anyways, the game starts with a little date with Zelda where she wins Link a teeny tiny shield at the Picori Festival, and ends with this dickhead Vati breaking a sacred sword that acted as a seal on a box full of evil monsters after winning a sword tournament where the prize is the opportunity to touch said sacred demon sealing sword. Yeah, I don't know what King Daltus was thinking with this one, more like King Doltus, am I right?
This stupid ravioli picking on me, I'm the king of Hyrule.
Basically, Vati thought the Triforce was in the box, which it wasn't, so he turned Zelda into stone and fricks off somewhere. Way to go, Link, if only your teeny tiny shield wasn't so embarrassing. So anyways, the king is like, hey Link, you're 10, you can find the Picori and fix this sword, right? Yeah, fuck, I guess. And that is pretty much how Link starts his journey. So you head off into the great unknown of the Minish Woods where we meet the side character of the Minish Cap. Ezlo is a sassy hat that is also a bird for some reason, but regardless, Ezlo is a pretty great sidekick. He can be quite handholdy at times, telling me, shit, I already know, Ezlo, shut up. But on the other hand, he adds personality to Link through his dialogue, which is kind of refreshing. Link is often a silent hero, but Ezlo shows us a bit of a silly side to Link. Okay, so back to that Picori mechanic I was talking about. Ezlo, being a hat and all, is able to shrink Link down to the size of the Picori at various locations in the overworld. This Minish mechanic was a brilliant way to have a smaller overall overworld, but fill it to the brim with places to explore and discover. My favorite part of the Minish Cap is the fact that there's so much to explore so tightly squeezed together. Backtracking in this game is actually fun because you start to see all the little Minish entrances and stuff that you missed the first time around. There's also a lot of hidden stuff that can be unlocked with the Kinstone system. As you explore, you'll find Kinstones and you can use them to match with NPCs in the overworld to unlock doors and reveal chests, among other things. I think Capcom did a really great job stuffing the world full of treasures and discoveries. Oh yeah, did I mention that the Minish Cap was developed by Capcom? Anyways, being tiny-ass baby Link also opened up some pretty cool boss encounters. Classic enemies like the Choo-Choo and the Octorok were reused as boss fights, and it was really cool seeing these normally easily defeated enemies as dangerous towering monsters. And don't even get me started on Castletown. Castletown, there's plenty to explore in the first place, but the Minish Cap and its Minish mechanic are at its best with the plethora of different things to discover in Hyrule's Castletown. There's a whole quest where Link has to track down books to return to the library, and it... Honestly, Hyrule Castletown is kind of the best dungeon in the game, and I can say that confidently because none of the other dungeons really stuck out to me. They're all good, but only 2 of them were really memorable. The first dungeon, the Deepwood Shrine, had some cool Minish features like a big rotating barrel in the middle and the Choo-Choo boss fight, and I think it did a really great job of showing you what they could do with this Minish mechanic, but the only 2 that I really thought were great were the Temple of Droplets and the one that's, it's like up in the, it's like in the clouds and stuff. Yeah, that one. The Temple of Droplets just had a very solid feel of progression to it, and the one that's like up in the clouds and stuff was cool because A, you get to use Rock's Cape for it, and B, you get to use Rock's Cape for it. Not to mention, the location lends really well to the fairy tale theme of the game. You literally explore a world above the clouds. Now here's something insignificant I'm going to complain about anyways. You see this spot here? In Zelda games new and old, spots like these usually mean a key will spawn or a treasure chest will spawn after meeting some sort of condition. And these spots are meant for bombs. You blow them up and hey bada boom bada there's a door now. In the Temple of the Winds, they decided to flip the meaning of these spots. I literally ran past this one insignificant little marker several times trying to find out how to get the chest to spawn until I eventually got pissed and just planted a bomb. Lo and behold, a hole appeared in the wall. I swear nowhere else in the game had used one of these spots as an indicator that a bomb was needed up until this point, unless I'm just a blind idiot and missed it. Wait, hold on. I take that back. I shouldn't be mean to myself. I'm not blind. I'm just an idiot. Speaking of being an idiot, I played through the Minish Cap around a year ago from the release of this video. I wrote a whole script, recorded the whole game, and started editing, and then found out my footage was garbage. After the absolute fresh hell that was the final dungeon of this game, it took me this long to finally beat it again and rewrite the script. But hey, it kind of worked out for you guys since I'm funnier now. See? I thought maybe I was exaggerating about how frustrating the final moments of the Minish Cap are, but after playing it again a year later, I still stand by how I felt in that original script. And that feeling is as follows. So the final dungeon, Dark Hyrule Castle, was for some reason designed to be a boss gauntlet. When you finally get to the top floor, you're met with a bunch of identical looking rooms all filled with Dark Nut enemies. I'd count how many, but I failed math in high school. After you finally beat the Dark Nuts and bust open the boss door, the real fun begins. First off, Vaati pops in and sets a time limit on you, and not just a narrative, oh my god, we gotta go fast, Link, but an actual time limit. Then you get to fight this married knight. You know, with the old ball and chain.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Then we do some magic Picori sword link splitting mumbo jumbo and trek through this room of knifey dudes. Not too bad so far, but then we get to fight not one, not two, but 3 Dark Nuts all at once, which is actually just annoying. Dark Nuts are very heavily guarded, and getting a hit on any of them at this point just kind of feels like dumb luck as opposed to strategy. There are several secret sword techniques that you can learn throughout the game that helps with them a bit, but I ain't got time for that. We only have 1 chime left before Vaati destroys the only Taco Bell in Hyrule. After beating the Dark Nuts, you finally get to fight Vaati. This fight was actually pretty fun. I liked it, but it didn't feel like a final boss, more like a phase 1. Okay, yep, there's phase 2. This eyeball Vaati is actually pretty tough. You have to expose the vulnerable eyes surrounding his body and then use the Link Splitter Upper skill to attack them all simultaneously. But the thing is, if you get bumped by anything during or after Link gets split up, the magic wears off and you gotta start again. If it weren't for Link needing to charge his sword to activate the skill in the first place, it wouldn't be so bad, but I digress. Once you beat the final stage of Vaati...
Surprise, motherfucker!
Okay, yeah, of course, there's a third one. I mean, boss fights are cool, and all of these are good in their own right, but here's the real issue. If you happen to die, you go all the way back to the start.
Are you serious? This is torture.
I actually got so pissed at this section of the game that I spent a literal year putting off playing it again, and even after my second run through of the game, I still kinda hate it. It was easier the second time, but I think that's only because I was a little more prepared knowing this gauntlet was coming, so I played a little more carefully. Like, challenge is cool, but I'd far rather have been able to start at the last boss I failed at with 3 hearts, rather than all the way at the very start with full health. I definitely didn't end up save stating with my totally legit and not at all emulated copy of the Minish Cap just so I could start again right at the final boss. Overall though, I really do like this boss, except for this BS.
What the dog doing?
It's tough, it makes good use of the mechanics you've learned throughout the game, including the Minish mechanic, and it does make you feel like a Zelda pro when you do finally beat it. So even after my Twitch chat redeemed self-destruct,
I'm so sad! I'm so happy!
I clutched out the rest of the fight with half a heart left and finally put an end to the year-long making of this video. So yeah, I mostly like the Minish Cap. It's kind of an odd Zelda game. Everyone remembers it from when they were kids. It's a loved game, but no one really talks about it all that much. It's a very middling experience and an overall great series, but its charm more than anything makes it memorable. Also, fun fact, the events of the Minish Cap are actually the reason for items being hidden under pots and various objects in Zelda games. Where I read this, I don't know, but you can take my word for it. I am a delicious Italian dish after all. So I guess it's time to place the Minish Cap somewhere on my list. Of course, my ranking list is subject to change as I review more Zelda games, but I think for now the Minish Cap sits somewhere in the low teens. So I'm gonna put it in the number 13 slot. Anyways, I couldn't think of a joke to end this video on, so here's this.
What the And that was what the dog was doing.
Thank you guys so much for watching. The next video in this Zelda series is going to be Skyward Sword HD. If you're interested, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and maybe even share it with your grandma. I heard your grandma's a fan of Italian dishes. Anyways, love you, bye!